So I'm working on this 62 Chrysler Imperial Crown. Needs a blower motor. There's almost no information on this. Nobody's very clear. So I decided to do something. I started taking it apart already. I don't know what this thing is. It's something with the car, but it had two screws holding it. It's probably missing some. I took out the glove box. Okay, you have to pull it from the inside, and I actually unbolted the corner brace so that the whole dashboard can move and slide it out. It basically it's pretty old and brittle, and you know, it ripped into place, but it could probably be reused. Yeah, I took off the kick panel inside here, and basically it's in this big round thing here, and supposedly there's a few screws holding this. Like I said, nobody really, you know, says anything directly, you know, so I'm pretty sure there's a bolt up here somewhere, and I have a little light up there, but it's really hard to see. It's crazy how they did this. This is really not fun to work on, you know. Hang on a second. Let's put a light on here. All right. So I'm actually gonna look at this video to see where the bolt is, because I literally cannot see my phone right now. I don't even know if this is in focus. My phone has been on the fritz. Anyway, yeah, so it kind of exposes a lot once you take out the glove box, and I'm going to keep looking for things. A lot of vacuum lines here, so I guess I'm going to have to make sure they're all, you know, going to stay together-ish, or if I do pop something off, to make sure it goes back in the same place, that sort of thing. And then I'll give an update video to see where it's going, but I got a little snake light in there. That's where the wiper motor is on this car. That's crazy. So I shall make more videos about this, because this has been something that's been bothering me on this car, on a friend of mine's car, and I want to help, and it's not always easy when you don't really know what you're doing and you don't have the time. But now I'm going to do a bunch of things to this car, so I have to figure something out, and because there's not much information, and I don't have the service manuals. I really don't feel I need service manuals sometimes, but sometimes you do. Looks like that's one bolt right there. That's the easy one. There's probably one on the other side, and there's probably one on top of here, and there's probably not much more else than that, because you really can't get your hands up in there. But I'll see. I'll let you know with some more videos how it went. All right. Weird arrangement of extensions. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I got it. It does move when I got the first two, but I still got the bolt. A lot of trial and error with this. All right, let me get back to doing it. All right, so after setting this up with a 3/8 bolt, straight, and then six inches of straight, and then 9 inches of straight between the small and little with this guy. Then I was able to reach the bolt. It has a hex head, same size hex head as that over there, 3/8. The bottom one here was a screwdriver bit I had to use. Possibly they lost it and they just put that in its place, because that's all they could find with that thread pitch, which is fine. Now it's actually all loose, so now I got to disconnect whatever I got to disconnect, I guess, the cables and whatnot, and you know, the vent just came off, and I pushed off the other one. Yeah, that vent is for that. Like I said, all I gotta do is go through, and it's probably, in fact, I can touch it here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that's the motor. You can just barely see it on my phone. It's big, and I heard that a Peterbilt motor is what you got to get from like an '84 Peterbilt truck. That's why it lasted so long, and they probably work like crap. Like I've heard of people complaining that it barely puts out any juice. This thing here was making noise one day, and I was investigating her low AC, because she had a lot of AC work done, and it was blowing cold if you charged it, but it leaked out, number one. So when I charged it, I put the fan on. It's like da 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 da, and then hence she had no heat either during the winter. Only when she drove, she got air coming in from the vents, you know, going through the system. So it'd be nice if she had some heat at idle and all that stuff. So we're gonna fix it all for her and figure out what these guys do. and whatnot. This doesn't look like it's attached anymore. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. So if you can adjust it and it moves with the thing. It's hard to see. Weird car. A lot of weird shit, but you know, weird is luxury back then, I guess. But let me see if I can get this thing out. Proving to be a little challenging. I took this guy off. Didn't disconnect the hoses yet because it physically didn't want to get past this. Same thing with this one here. You know, I just marking the yellow stripe on the top, red stripe. If you can see, yeah, red stripe on the bottom. So this guy will spin out of the way. I was trying to get it off the thing, but it wasn't happening. But it's definitely challenging right now. It was getting hung up on the heavy insulation, so I got that free without breaking it. And I'm gonna keep going. I got more stuff on that side. So far, there are only 2 lines, which I already showed you where they went. I took off. I popped this guy out of this little bracket here. I guess this is the motor. This is gonna have to get unclipped. I was trying to pull it, but it was very hard, so I gotta probably use 2 hands and maybe even put a little penetrating oil in there to try to get it out because it's tight and I don't want to break it. So I'm still working on it. I'll give you more updates. So it's out. Basically, I just needed to rotate it right here. It was hung up on this carpet here. Somebody did a lousy job with this carpeting. A lot of these companies that make these things are Chinese and they don't really build it right, or they try to use straight cut carpeting and then they sit there and hack it all up here, and this is why there's a bunch of your ripples and the big long cut, because they don't take out something like the heater box, which, you know, I kind of understand, but, you know, and you can see this is where it was getting hung up here. But, I mean, the heater core and the evaporator core, that's all accessible under the hood, actually. I mean, it's not accessible that greatly, but it's accessible. Now, the only other thing was the one cable, the 2 vacuum ones I showed you, and the other 2 from the other long one, and you can't mess these up. And the red one goes on the bottom, this is a white one that goes on the top, the white stripe. There we go, sorry. And 3 bolts, 1. The second there, and the one on the other side. Disconnect these guys. I just put 1 bolt to hold these so they don't get messed up. But ultimately, that's how you get out this this fan. And you can't. You see what happens is then you got to separate this from the housing because these 3 bolts come out, and then you can get to it. Like technically, if I undid the box in the front, I might be able to, but it would be a lot more hassle. But if I got it from the front. Nah, this would still be wedged in the inside. So yeah, because this is the what do they call it? The hamster wheel that drives the fan. So off to look for one of these things. I hear it's a Peterbilt, like I said in another video. Hopefully it works and I can make all these wires look nice. Maybe put a little fatter wires because these kind of look shitty. And that kind of looks like it's melted. That's why I had a hard time pulling it out, and it finally came out, actually. So the positive wire is kind of melted because I think these things are, especially when I put more load as it got older, you know, it had to struggle more. So it would be nice to put a heavier wire, even if even if these aren't that big, because you're not going to change all these wires. But at least then it'll be maybe potential for going faster. But just having it new has got to be a huge, huge difference. It's not seized, it's rolling, but this thing made a lot of noise, and then it just died on me last year, and so she's been dealing without the heat. So wish me luck. I'll make more videos. And my phone is ringing. Hello, okay, 3 bolts, and then the perimeter Phillips head screws around here that held this to this, like that. This is the motor, had this bracket on it, 2 nuts, okay, there's the bracket, looks like a triangle, that's where the bolt's held. This is the hamster wheel. You had to get in there with an Allen and you can't go straight in there. So I ended up, to give me more leverage, I had a guy like this with the right side, I believe it was 1/8 Allen key, and it came loose. So this is very nice, but you know, it's delicate, I think, you know, so you got to be careful not to bend it up, you know. And then I whacked on it with a punch and a hammer. I got the motor out. That's funny because you can't even turn it. It's very hard by hand. This thing with the leverage with this, then it was able to spin before, but it's older than dirt, you know. So, and that's it. I don't know if I'll make a video of it going back together, but I'm sure it's an updated motor. Probably will run faster as well. I'm going to investigate this more and get the right stuff and see what happens. In the meantime, I got other work to do to this car in the coming weeks, and I will keep you updated.